we will start with the introduction about our session today. It's Wednesday, July 29. We want to get to know each others more, which is ice-breaking talk. With Mr. Mustafa Chohan, today we will discuss two main points: ERP finance and its key features, and what do we mean by financial consolidations. We're gonna focus also on the importance of the ERP and CRM for the graduate students who don't know what to do and how to start their career path after they finish the university. So, as ERP software has become an inevitable part of modern businesses, it hosts a world full of business functionalities that are designed to address inventory requirements, quality of finished products, manage production functions, oversee crucial business processes. So we got the benefits of ERP systems are many, but how does it benefit from the accounting and financial management department in the organization? The answer we'll discover today with Mr. Mustafa Chohan, who is a fellow member of the Chartered Association of Certified Accountants from ACCA UK, BSc Hones in Applied Accounting from Oxford Brookes University, and Microsoft Certified Specialist for Microsoft Dynamics. He's having 12 years of experience in implementing Dynamics solutions across a range of industries, and his academics in accounting and finance and his interest in information technology facilitated him to become the successful consultant in the area. He is currently acting as a managing director for a UAE-based Microsoft Dynamics consulting firm, Tech Ventures, and leading a team of consultants who are implementing Dynamics ERP solution across the globe. So welcome with us for today, Mr. Mustafa. It's our pleasure having you with us.
Thank you, Asma. Thank you for the warm welcome.
Thanks again, dear. Dear, actually, I'm gonna start with you to ask to our guests, which is, what do you mean, in your opinion, what do you mean by ERP and CRM solution?
ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. And when we say ERP, we are talking about the processes within an organization. So like, your supply chain processes, your procurement processes, your sales processes. And when we say ERP, you are not only automating your processes, but also you're bringing internal controls to your processes. You're bringing securities and controls to your organization, so you can control your resources and assets of your company. On the other hand, when we say CRM is more focused towards customer relationship management. That's more like, your customer satisfaction, how you start your business leads. For example, you have leads, opportunities, you have sales quotation. It's more like before the operations. So the key difference is also that CRM solutions is more focused towards operations and the customer side, and the ERP solutions are more focused towards supply chain, financials, and accounting side of the businesses. Not only the planning, it covers more than that.
This is why we call it ugly name, because when we tell somebody ERP, do you know what's ERP? He said no. We explain it's enterprise resource planning. Okay, again, what does that mean? And it's more, the explanation of ERP is also always more complicated than the name itself. This is why we call it once as an ugly name, and we are asking.
So when we say ERP, so there's another word comes in mind, is an integration, right?
Yeah.
So ERP brings all the departments together. Yes. Yeah. High level overview, like, when we say financials, so financials covers, it's a backbone of an ERP. Okay? It's the, it covers the modules like general ledger, accounts payable, accounts receivable, cash and bank management, fixed asset budgeting. So each and every module under the financial has an importance. So let's say if we say general ledger, so chart of accounts, dimensions, reporting, like chart of accounts is really the key to any implementation. So, like for example, if you can see some notes on the left side. So, if let's say the chart of account is not planned properly, or they are not designed correctly as per the industry requirement or as the customer requirement, the implementation will go fail. So we are not saying there will be some problem with the implementation. We are saying it's failed. So chart of account may be the successful implementation for any successful ERP implementation. It's one of the important factor. Similarly, the dimensions and cost centers, like, it says that, let's say your departments are there, your divisions are there, your organization hierarchy is there. So the consultant has to realize and understand properly what exactly the organization is dealing with. So if you say that, what exactly that comes under the financials, so you have, let's say, accounts payable. So in accounts payable, you deal with your vendors, so your suppliers, their invoices, their payments, their ledgers, their transactions. In account receivable, we have the customer management, the customer information, the credit limit for the customer, what are the payment terms, what are the agreed milestones, the payments from the customer, their transactions, their reports. In cash and bank management, we deal with the bank accounts, international transactions, your remittances, your bank reconciliations. You do it on a monthly basis, you do maybe on a weekly basis, depending on the organization. Your fixed assets, so you have the inventory, and the other hand, you have fixed assets. Fixed assets are your long-term assets, basically. So then you have acquisitions, depreciations, disposal, your budgeting, expense budgeting or revenue budgeting. So when we say financials,
everybody who make investment or investment to buy an ERP, the main purpose for them at the end is to know how much the company is getting profit or losing. So they know the result. This is why we call it the result of profit and loss. So the result of the financial year, because all the results are defined in a period of time. The only way to get this is the financial model in any ERP. And in order to get this financial model getting the right result, all financial entries must be integrated. So this is, as Mustafa also said, if there is any payment that is done online, if you are receiving online payments, or if there is some payments that are done, transferred to your bank, all these must be properly entered to your financial management and inside your ERP to get the right result. Otherwise, you will not get the right results. So all your data are not going to be good. So all your ERP is going to fail.
Can you let us know what are the key features of the financial module in ERP?
So generally, it's not only Dynamics, because we know that you are you have a specialty in Dynamics, but there are all the international ERP are now, today, they are the same. They include mostly the same features. So if you can get
features, the topmost features, like, you can manage your chart of accounts, right? You have the reporting features, like for an accountant, they mostly spend time in closings, right? They spend time in closing the month end or the year end. So in financial, any ERP, maybe you can say Oracle, SAP, or Dynamics. Now these closings are like, maybe it's like 30 minutes job. The accounts and balances are reflecting on your statements or your reporting financial statement, like trial balance, balance sheet, or profit and loss. So that's one thing. Other thing is that, your double entry system, your debits and credits are automatically happening. So now your accountants has to be very smart. Traditionally, the way of doing accounting on paper or maybe on Excel or any other software where they need to decide, okay, I need to debit this account, I need to credit that account, is all gone now. Okay, these are all configured, and so your accountant decision making is not based on accounts now. His decision making is something else. You need to decide whether this customer is doing the transaction with this customer, whether it's risky or not. Whether I should allow this customer as a credit limit, or or I need to get an approval. As I said a couple of times, security, segregation of duties, and these credit limits. At the same time, financial solutions under ERP comes with approval workflows. So there you can, it's like very common these days, you have your approvals on your emails. So like people they're traveling, or
the cash flow.
Yeah, so they're outside their office. So management is outside office, directors are outside office. So your work is not getting stuck, right? someone can approve on the mobile phone or during the travel and all that. And one important thing is the segregation of duties, right? So in an ERP, some ERPs provide you the reports, like, your one person is recording the invoice, at the same time he's recording the payments as well. So your people or your audit team will know that, okay, we have to limit the duties and transfer some of the duty to other people. So there could be better internal controls within your operations.
You are mentioning one of my main questions, which is the benefits of using the ERP, financial part in the ERP. So we got the time, we have the time, we save time, and the automation. What you can add, Mustafa, for the benefits that arises from using the financial module in ERP?
I think time is really important. One thing, yes. Time is important. But on the other hand, sometimes reporting is very important.
Reporting part, yes. How much it's hard to let your clients adapt to the features that you have with the ERP here?
Most of it, how much the use of the features and how much it's hard as well. So it's a very important question.
So the best part, I'm not sure about Oracle or SAP, but the best part is that in most of the Dynamics products, like, we have GP, AX, Business Central, NAV, all these ERP. So they are not modular licensed. They are like licensed on the user base. So if you even buy, let's say, one user, you get access to most of their features available. But the worst part is that customers are, in my experience, are not even using 30 to 40% of the ERP features. Okay.
Mustafa, can I ask you a question here? Just sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
I used to be a partner. I worked with a lot of partners. The partner used sometimes the approach to hide some features on the customer, not to train them and not to give them and to lose time. Do you think that this is still valid in this?
Basically, in some instances I can say yes, and in some instances I can say no. So basically, when partners start the implementation, definitely there's a scope of work, right?
Yeah.
And they have to stick to that. The payments and the cost and everything is based on scope of work. That's one. Number two is that customers may ask, like, during the implementation, do you have this feature? So they will simply say no, because they don't want to get into it.
Otherwise, they budget. Don't want to pay much.
Yes,
so you have to tell
definitely.
Them.
So it's what we do, as a consultant, what I advise that, we can explain to the customer that, this feature is there, but it's not important at the moment, right? You can defer it. Once we complete the implementation, we'll discuss this. And there are a lot of different features that we can implement, but let's stick to what we have agreed so we can meet our timelines. So that's, I think, is a fair comment that we can, and the customer has to agree to it, actually. And sometimes they don't.
But do you think that from the implemented features that you do usually for the customers, how much percentage, if you want to give the percentage example, or over 10, the customer are using from these features? The dimensions, posting group, analysis by dimension, for example, in Dynamics, there is a lot of features that automatic bank reconciliation workflows. How much these percentage do you think in the first year? Is it also ascending? Do you think in your experience?
So I think in the first year, if the customer is managed to using 30 to 40% of the ERP, it's a very good number.
Okay. 20?
30 to 40%.
Yeah.
I have a very comment for the new accountants coming into the market. So accountants are basically, when I'm being an accountant and being associated with ACCA, what I see that accountants are losing jobs because of an ERP. I'm sorry to say that, but it's happening.
Exactly.
Traditionally, there were like 4 accountants and doing the job, but today ERP is cutting the job. So accountants has to be smart enough to sell themselves, like they know ERP, they know how to use it, and they know what exactly the role is. The role of an accountant is changing now. It's not traditionally like you are doing a ledgers, a debit and credit. It's there as a
Financial
basics.
analysis.
It's
Smart.
there, but now you have to become, as I said, a financial analyst, right?
So please, could you explain for us what do you mean first by financial consolidation with ERP system?
Okay,
Very
so
important topic, Mustafa.
yeah.
We would appreciate your details on
So
this.
basically, from the before we come into the ERP and consolidations, we need to understand why we need consolidations actually. So consolidations only are required when we are talking about the groups and the multiple companies, right? So they're like, there's one group and have multiple subsidiaries, or they have associates. Either they are like own 100% own subsidiary, or maybe 70%, or they have 20-25% own associate. So any ownership, any investments, any ownership. There we have a term called consolidation, and the term consolidation means that you have to consolidate the financial statements, like the profit and loss, the revenues and the cost and the gross profits and the net profits. You have to consolidate.
I've mentioned and focused on the importance of ERP and CRM for graduate students who are frustrating to start their career path. So, what is your advice here for these newborn? I have named it a newborn career students. So, what your advice? What do you recommend to start building their skills?
So basically, when you say new graduates, okay, so they can be from a business school like maybe an ACCA or MBA or PBA, or they can be from software engineering side. So basically, if you can see on my screen, so we have a lot of roles. Okay, these could be your the first role in an industry, like for example, functional consultant. You can start as a business analyst, right? And you start analyzing the business and getting involved yourself in implementation, sometimes as data migrations. So you become the functional consultant. So the role for the functional consultant is that you understand the product. So this is a very, very important thing that you can see on the most of the designation. It's a consultant written over there. So when I say consultant, so consultant means expert, right?
Yeah.
So consultant has to be at least, to my thinking, should be at least 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years experienced person. Before that, we should not call that person as a functional consultant. He can be a business analyst, right? Or can be the application engineer or something like that, right? Because when we say consultant, so you can say that you cannot. I mean, I have seen a trainee consultant. So there's nothing like a trainee expert, right? Or a doctor you are visiting. You say, "Oh, this is my first day at being a doctor."
Yeah.
So it's not like that. So I think you can start a career as a business analyst if you're from the business school, or you can start as a trainee development or a trainee software engineer for the development side. But if you look at the career, like what kind of path you can take. So for example, if you're being a functional consultant, you can pass some exams on the EMP side, and there's some Prince qualifications for project management, and you can see yourself in project management, which I personally don't like actually, because the project management is sometimes when there's a cost cutting scenarios, when like there's a corona and all that stuff. So the project managers was the first to start losing their jobs actually. So